Hi everyone, welcome to Like and Sub 11. So, one of my viewers, she asked for me to do a video because she's a sophomore in high school, and she was basically asking for me to make a video, kind of giving her, some guidance to prep her for college, and like steps that she needs to take to get into like the college of her choice or whatever. So, I was like, that's a very, very good idea, and I want to thank her. I want to give her a shout out, actually, Glam Beauty 53, and yeah. So the first thing I want to advise to you is to take classes that are related to what you want to do in college. Now, it's one thing if you don't know what you want to do. I mean, if you have a general idea, take classes that pertain to what you're going to major in. For example, I major in biology, so I would take classes like biology, obviously, or like if your school offers it, like anatomy or physiology, botany, zoology, anything like that in high school that they offer. Take those classes, because when you get to college, you're going to have to take those classes, and hearing it again is really, really going to make your college career so much easier to get through, because they're classes, though you're hearing it again, the class in college is obviously tougher than the classes in high school, so hearing it twice makes your life so much easier. Also, you want to expand your vocabulary and become a very well-spoken, well-written person, because I noticed that a lot of professors, they use educated words, like their syntax has increased, like they use big words, and sometimes I find myself not even understanding what they're saying. But now that I read more, and I like doing like the little words of the day on the Webster.com, like the dictionary website, and that really helps me. Like, I make it a point to learn the word and use it at least like 3 times that day, so that I remember what it means next time I hear it. Also, a lot of colleges, I know a lot of people don't hear about it, because I never heard about it in my high school career, but my sister heard about it from a friend. You need to see if your college has this thing called flyouts. And flyouts are basically where the college, if they're interested in you, you'll get in contact with their admissions counselor or whatever, and they will offer to fly you out to the school so that you can tour the school. And my sister, she got to do that, and basically, all you do is drive yourself to the airport or whatever. They'll pay for your flight. They'll pay for your luggage. They'll pay for your traveling expenses. They'll pay for your food. They'll pay for a room and board and everything for those days that you're there. And while you're there, you get like a student, an upperclassman, to show you around the school. Some schools even let you, sit in the classes so you can kind of see, like the pace of the course and what to really expect. And I find that is, or from what my sister was telling me, that is the best way to really see what you're going to encounter once you get to the school, so you're not just totally a deer in headlights once you get there. Also, you want to be able to have a strong application. So if you can take your application after you wrote it out and everything, you need to take it to like a professor or a teacher or someone who is like well-spoken, very, very educated, or well-written, and ask for them to, look over your application, see what you can add, because there's some things that you may not even think of, like things like community service that you did in your freshman year, you don't even remember it, things that you could be adding. It's always great to have a second pair of eyes looking at stuff like that, especially your essays. Ask people to critique your essays, write the essay early and put it off to the side, and then come back and read it again. And I can never stress enough like how much you need to critique your essay, because a lot is said about you through your essay, if that makes sense. And also, they have different like options on when to apply to get into schools, and if you absolutely know for sure 100% like I'm going to this school, I advise you to apply as early as possible. Also, you need to look for scholarships as early as possible, and whenever I say early as possible, I mean like starting your freshman year, because a lot of students, they wait until the last possible second, myself included, to look for scholarships, and then they find it's really, really hard. They have no time because they're worried about work and school and graduation and all that fun stuff, and you don't really have time to apply for scholarships. But there are people who I do know, they've been applying for scholarships since their freshman year. Like, they have seriously over like $500,000 saved up to go to college, all from, you know, just writing a simple essay or having a decent GPA whenever they apply to these scholarships or whatever. So apply for scholarships as early as possible. Also, a lot of schools I know, in the U.S. at least, they have these courses called AP and IB courses. AP stands for Advanced Placement, and IB, I'm not exactly sure what IB stands for, but I'll link it down below, or I'll like put it over here once I find out what it means. And but these are basically courses that are a little bit higher than honors courses, and you get a little more credit, whereas, for example, you may get a 4.0 for having all A's in your regular classes. I know in AP classes you can get up to like a 5.0, like I've seen it done. You can get a 5.0 in your AP classes. Like, how awesome is that if you get straight A's in AP classes? And these AP classes, basically you take a rigorous course and you learn everything about like a subject. They have several subjects out there. You need to talk to your counselor to see what subjects your school offers. And at the end of the school year or at the end of the semester, you go and take a test and see how well you understand the information. And you can get a score from a 0 to a 5, 5 being the highest. And a lot of schools, they offer, you know, exemption credits if you get like a 3 or higher on your test. So that way you go into college and you don't even have to take that course again. I know people who have gotten, you know, like straight 5s on their stuff, and they go into college as like sophomores, nearly juniors in high school. I mean in college, how amazing is that, right? To really look into your AP and IB courses, because if you feel like you can handle like the honors course load and you never heard about it, you need to talk to your advisor or counselor about it to see what they can do or what you can do to get into these classes. Also, you need to get high scores on your SAT and ACT. A lot of you, I took both, but a lot of people don't have to take both. It depends on what their college wants. You need to look into the college of your choice to see like what they prefer for you to have. Like some people, they do better on SAT, where a lot of, I know the science people and, you know, people like that, they tend to do better on the ACT. I personally did better on the SAT. I don't know why, but they have different classes that you can take to do well on the SAT, but you need to make sure that you're like very good at vocabulary, math, and, you know, like reading and comprehension, and your writing skills, you know, different things like that, your science skills. They have books like this big, like no lie, for you to study the SAT and ACT, and you need to spend like the majority of your senior life and junior life in those books until you get the score you want. They also have classes out there, and they are pretty expensive, but like I took the test one time. I didn't do as well as I wanted. I did pretty well, but I knew I could do better, so I took the class, and I can't remember how much it cost, but I took the class, and whenever I went to go retake my SAT course, I jumped like 40, 50 points. So it really was worth it, because it really helps you get into, you know, the school that you want. That may be like the make or break for you sometimes. You never know. Also, you need to work on your professionalism, because I notice a lot of people who go to college, they act like they have no home training. Like they've never had parents tell them no. It's kind of ridiculous, but I know we're in high school and we're 14 and 15 and maybe 16, 17, whatever, but that is the perfect time for you to grow up and start acting mature. Start learning how to carry yourself as a proper lady or man, and, you know, like be mature and know how to approach certain situations, and, you know, how to dress for certain occasions, like for a job versus for class. You know, there's different things like that, because people really pay attention to that. Like a lot of people judge you based on, one, the way you look, and two, how you speak. So if you're like just speaking whatever and this and that and this and that, people aren't going to take you seriously. They're not going to see you as an educated, well-to-do person. But if sit up proper and you dress okay and your hair is okay and everything like that, people will take you more seriously and just assume, even if you had no education, people will just assume that you are an educated person who is able to do things, able to take instruction well and all that stuff, like appearance and professional. I'm so tongue-tied today, but professionalism goes a long, long way. Also, you need to get the highest GPA that you possibly can, and this means knowing when to study, knowing how to study, and thoroughly understanding information. I know a lot of people, they don't know how to study, and myself, I wasn't even taught how to study, it's something that you have to kind of find for yourself a lot of the times. I know a lot of people are tactile learners or auditory learners or they visual learners. I think those are the three main different types of learning, and if you find the way you learn the best, you need to stick to that. And I know, for me, I have to write every little thing down in order for me to understand what I read or what I saw, what I heard or whatever. And doing that, I find if I write it all down and keep reviewing it, I get A's. But if I just listen to it, I don't take a single note, I don't do as well, So find the way you study the best, and also you need to devote a lot of time to studying. I know school, you have friends and everything like that. You want to spend time with them, but you need to understand, once your friends move on, they're not going to be your friends for long. If you're getting bad grades and not going anywhere with your life, unless they're not going anywhere with their lives too. And I mean, who wants friends who don't do anything for themselves? We all want someone to push us on. So really focus on getting the highest GPA possible. And if you find your study habits aren't working, go to a counselor or go to a teacher, go get a tutor, and just ask them to go over this stuff with you until you understand it, because that's their job. That's what your teachers and counselors get paid to do, to teach you and help you understand so that you can go on and apply this knowledge somewhere else. Also, lastly, there are 3 different things I want to say, but it's all in the same thing. But you need to join extracurriculars, you need to do community service, and if at all possible, you need to have a job. And these are important because colleges love to look and see what you do with your time other than hanging out with your friends and staying in your books. Because I know a lot of people, they don't do stuff like that, and that makes them not really a well-rounded person, and colleges love well-roundedness for some reason. So if you do extracurriculars, I suggest that, and I'm talking about clubs whenever I say extracurricular, but I suggest that you do something you like and something pertaining to what you want your major to be later on. So, and community service is also important because colleges love to see that students, they give back, because although we don't see it, there are a lot of people out there who are less fortunate than we are. We may complain about our grades, we may complain about our clothes and how our makeup's not perfect, but trust me, people have it a million times worse out there. So we all need to learn how to give back and appreciate what we have. Also, if you can have a job, that shows colleges that you're able to multitask and do things well at the same time, because schools don't want to see that you only do well at school. They want to see that you're able to do different things in addition to school and still succeed, But I really didn't want to put this out today, and I hope you guys do enjoy it, and I hope it helps out a lot. And please subscribe below and if you use any of these tips, and also you can add some more tips to help, future or present people who are just like you trying to get into colleges, because it's important to help other people around you, because you may be wondering one thing, and someone may have the answer to that. I mean, you never know. So I'd love to see a discussion below, and yeah, hope you guys have a great day. Bye.